Today the topic deliberate on important aspects, structuring business entities. Why this particular topic I thought I can deliberate? Because even the entrepreneur who want to commence the business, they still in confusion that which format could best suit to them. Okay. That too, the law keep changing. More particularly, as you all know, that Companies Act 2013 keep changing, and LLP Act 2008 also it keep changing. So the doubt comes in the mind of entrepreneur which form of entity would be best suitable to them, so that they can start the entity and see that they run the business or they carry out the operations in a hassle-free way, so that they can focus on the business rather too much focus on the compliance side. So now coming to the topic of structuring business entity, I'm not coming into the new entrepreneur, the settled business community or entrepreneur. I'm just trying to deliberate which form in a present scenario, okay, would be best suitable to the business community or any entrepreneur for this matter. So in that case, I first try to list out what are those entities as of now today, which is in vogue in the among the business community. So now I have to say that the first thing I can say a sole proprietorship firm. The second I could say partnership firm. Third I could say limited liability partnership firm. Then fourth is a company. In company I can always say there's a private company, public company, you might be knowing it. Then apart from this format, and another important thing which is gaining importance because of certain tax relief that entrepreneur is getting it, the Hindu Undivided Family. What is that Hindu Undivided Family? You must be knowing that there's a concept called Hindu HUF. In short form we call HUF. The business are getting conducted or carried out even in the HUF form. They call it as a family business and do it. Now to understand better which would be better format, because my idea is to just to give deliberate and tell you the important thing on that aspect, not to deliberate in much detail. That's not the idea here, because I keep getting many times to my friends that what are the best thing. Even they were asking me whether sole proprietorship is suitable or partnership would be suitable or LLP would be suitable or company would be suitable. Now I would say that the time has gone. Today in a touch of a button we get all the details about individual. Okay, the concept called KOC has come, know your customer. So today even bank, even to open an account they want the details, KOC norms to be complied with. So this is the case for any business transaction or any business dealing with, whether it is a government or non-government. So in this scenario, now thinking about sole proprietorship and partnership, is it advisable, or would that LLP and company alone would be a better format? No, I am not trying to say that only the company and LLP would be better format, not that proprietorship or partnership is a good format. No, I am not. My idea is to not to give a special status to something. I will try to deliberate by telling the merits and demerits and what is there in the law, what is not there in the law, so that it's up to the entrepreneur, whoever to decide, or person venturing into the business. Let it be a small guidance from my side, so that at least they will be a better position to take a decision on this particular aspects. Going to a sole proprietorship, I would say today in a given scenario, it won't be a advisable one. The reason being, today the sole proprietorship, there is no specific law governing sole proprietorship in India. So therefore what happens, the sole proprietorship, it born with the person, or whether I can say is exist with the presence of the person, or I can put it this way, the sole proprietorship exists with the existence of the person. When existence goes away, there is no sole proprietorship. I won't believe the business should be done that fashion where it exists only with the existence of the entrepreneur. Then it is not a business at all. The business should be it should endeavor for some time, because the time, the energy, the knowledge, the fund which is put in It is not to the lifetime of only one particular person, entrepreneur who is getting to the business. It should have a successor. It should succeed with somebody, some other entrepreneur or some other family members, or even should be in a position to sell the business to our corporate entity to another person. So the sole proprietorship, can it be sold? No, it cannot be sold, because as I was saying, it exists with the existence of the entrepreneur. So, and more so, it is not governed by any of the law in our country. In fact, if at all I have to say that the sole proprietorship, if at all a compliance is there, of course the tax compliance is there. There is no special privilege and all. Tax compliance is there, because tax compliance is there whether it is a legal entity or whether it is a limited liability or unlimited liability entity. There is no distinction with respect to the taxation laws in India, because the taxation laws in India gives almost equal status to everyone. Of course, the rates alone gets changed. So taxation part, whether it is income tax or GST, it recognizes sole proprietorship. But here the point is, the proprietorship firm, as I was referring, that it cannot have a successor in business after the lifetime of the entrepreneur. So it cannot carry any trademark after the lifetime of the entrepreneur, because the sole proprietorship will die with the entrepreneur dies. So always it is better to go with the format which has got a successor. So now, and another disadvantage of this, today for any activity we need a KOC, know your customer detail, or know your person with whom we are dealing with. But in sole proprietorship, the details cannot be retrieved anywhere, because there were nowhere registration is done. It's not like a company, limited company, or a LLP where we register and all our details are visible to the stakeholders by making inspection of it. But whereas the documents of sole proprietorship is not so, because nowhere it is getting recorded, because it is just by a declaration of an individual, those sole proprietorship starts its business. That means it gets its identity. In fact, the identity itself the entrepreneur gives. So someone, if you have to understand where is the identity, then it has to be explained by the entrepreneur that there is an identity called X, or you call it Vignesh Enterprises, or whatever the name you call it, because any name they can call, but without adding the word of LLP or private company, because the law prohibits other entity, unincorporated entities to use the name company or limited or private limited or LLP cannot be used. It can be used only by an entity, a legal entity which is formed in respective act. So therefore, sole proprietorship in today's scenario, point number 1, it won't get that recognition. Point number 2, it will not have a successor. Point number 3, even if an entrepreneur develop the business, it will be difficult for him to sell the business to another person, because there will be difficult to transfer his brand name and business and whatever that credibility that he acquired by virtue of his business. So therefore, then in the market, even if they put effort of 20 years, 30 years after that also, it will be difficult for him to transfer the business with the same brand, because brand itself will be created with the name of entrepreneur, means with the existence of entrepreneur. As I was saying, that the sole proprietorship is not a legal entity, it is not an incorporated entity, it is unlimited liability concern, we can call it. Not even a concern, it goes with the individual, as I was referring. So the trademark itself, suppose someone is starting a business and doing a business for 20 years and they earned a market name. Now the market name which carries the entity which does not have existence, which does not have a legal recognition in India, will carry the trade name or trademark, which cannot be transferred, which can be transferred even by that sole proprietor during his lifetime, not after that. After that, it would be difficult, because as I was referring, that it cannot succeed by another person, since sole proprietorship will die with proprietor himself or herself. So now, coming to the next format is a partnership. What is the benefit of it? The partnership little improved than a sole proprietorship. Though there is a partnership act specifically there in Indian Partnership Act, but still the registration is not mandatory under Indian Partnership Act. Only if you have to file a case against anyone, or if anyone want to file a case against the partnership firm, then the law provides that it should be a registered one under the Indian Partnership Act. Otherwise, the registration of Partnership Act is not mandatory at all. So that means the same legal position which I was explaining you, there it was a single person as a sole proprietor. Here, two person as a individual person get along each other and commence a business in partnership, but the existence could not be identified with a legal authority, with a ascertained legal authority. Rather, like a company, it can be understood. The legal authority should be ascertained by way of certificate of incorporation. Same for the case for limited liability partnership also. But in case of partnership, the Partnership Act says that the partnership exists by agreement. So that means it is only in a mutual agreement a partnership exists. So there is no other record or there is no other documentation. So there is no other certificate to prove that certain entity is in existence. Of course, by contact, by doing transactions, the existence can be retained. But the proving the existence, we cannot have any legal authority or government, recognition kind of thing for the partnership firm. Though even we register also, not like a company or LLP where we can go and download from official website. Here in partnership firm, the register of firms are there. Even there are register of firm where partnership is registered. It is not that anybody can go and download and see the records of partnership firm. In fact, many times it so happened, few of my friends, they used to bring a situation to me and ask me that suddenly the partner is died. Both the partners are died. Then what is the legal position of it? Then the question comes immediately where to go and check whether the law provides for, law doesn't provide for. Then what is the recourse? The recourse is going to the provisions of the partnership deed. In fact, I can say most of the partnership deed will not address the situation in case of death. Okay, what could be the scenario and how the partnership. In very few partnership deed, we can say partnership succeeds by legal as or succeeds by certain method. They generally prescribe. But many of the partnership which I have come across, there is no such mechanism. So in which case, if the partners are suddenly they die, then what is the recourse available? What is the assurance of the business? Because business, they would have borrowed the loan and they would have given money also or advanced to supply machinery or take services. Then what is the legal protection that a partnership firm gets if there is no existence of partners? One of our friends has again brought to me the situation where he said one of the partner wrote a letter to other partners, said that I borrowed money from outside people. Of course, this is an individual thing. Maybe few in the name of partnership also, because as I was saying that it is not a legal format. Simply a partner can borrow using the name also. So he has simply written a letter saying the other partner, you don't search me, I borrowed outside, I am running away. Then the situation came to me asking one of my friends that what is the situation? There is no situation, there is no answer to the situation. Then what is the fate of other partner? Because the partnership will not be in existence if there is no two person, there is no two partner. That's why I said the partnership exists by an agreement. So therefore, even in partnership, it will be risky on part of the partners, even to the outsiders. That's why in many banks they may prefer not to give loan to the partnership firm, because there is no legal sanctity, there is no legal entity at all. So the partners, suddenly if they run away also, it will be difficult for the bank to keep track of them. So that's the reason when we start doing a business in a bigger level, it is always advisable to go a legal entity, an incorporated entity. Probably that entity could be either a limited liability partnership or whether it's a private company or public company. What's the big advantage of it? if you see limited liability partnership or a private company or public company, it is governed by, regulated by respective statute. In case of LLP, there's a Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. Same way in case of company, there's a Companies Act 2013. So it is regulated by its own statute, its own regulation, and also there's a regulatory authority who regulates it. And if there's no complaints made, or if any violation, whether it is a limited liability partnership or company, the regulatory immediately takes action against the concerned director or concerned designated partner in case of LLP to make sure that to make him to comply the provision or to file a case, or file a complaint against him with the magistrate court and make him liable for the consequences thereof. And also the law protects. In fact, if you see entire Companies Act, I say out of 470 sections in case of Companies Act, it gives complete protection, all the scenario, what happens if the promoters runs away, or the promoter runs away, what is the legal position, and what is the responsibility of the director, what is the, even section 166 talks about what is the duties of director. Same way in case of LLP, it talks about what is the duties of designated partner, what is the duties of the partner. So when it is an incorporated entity, it has got a legal protection, legal existence. That's why law, whether it is a Companies Act or a Limited Liability Partnership Act, it calls body corporate. Why we call it as a body corporate? A company is called as a body corporate, a LLP is called as a body corporate. That means the moment it attains the status of legal status of body corporate, then it acquires the legal capacity to hold the property. That's why we always advise that a partnership firm cannot buy the property in the name of partnership firm. The sole proprietorship cannot buy the property, hold the property in name of sole proprietorship, because it does not have a legal capacity to hold it. That's why generally they buy the property in the name of the partners. So, but whereas in company, by registration, by making it as a legal entity, by incorporation, it become a body corporate. So it is capable of suing others and can be sued by anybody. Same way it got a limited liability. The liability of the shareholders is limited to the extent it is contributed. Therefore, there is a legal protection to the entrepreneur who is forming it. Which protection is not in the sole proprietorship or partnership firm. It is completely exposed. In fact, in case of any default, and also, as you all know that even the banks or any lending institutions or any stakeholder, they also get more confidence when the company is a legal entity where the details can be accessed. Suppose if I say that if X company is going for loan, the bank can easily verify who is the director, who is the shareholder, what is the operations carried out, what kind of accounts has been filed. Even they can download the accounts from Ministry of Corporate Affairs and verify whether that accounts is done properly done, and whether it's in compliance, and the background of the promoters and their track record, all can be verified in case of a company and limited partnership. None of these things can be verified in case of a sole proprietorship or partnership firm. Whatever they give the balance sheet or whatever they give the paper, based on that it has to be the entrepreneur or any stakeholder, whether it's a bank or anybody, they have to rely on it. Based on that, they have to proceed further, taking risk, because they may not know, there is no assurance that the document supplied by the partners of the partnership firm or sole proprietor is an authenticated one or correct one, because there is no one is certifying it, no one is taking responsibility. In fact, he himself will say that no, that's not my balance sheet, or that's not my financial accounts. So the person who supplied itself may disown his responsibility in what are the documents submitted to the stakeholders or any authorities for this matter. So this is a risk involved in case of a unorganized entity. We call it organized entity. As a profession, we call it organized entity, unorganized entity. So organized entity is kind of a company, a limited company, and limited liability partnership, where it has got a limited liability protection. The unorganized entity is nothing but a partnership and sole proprietorship, where I said there is no law to recognize it. That these are the plus and minuses and the merits and demerits of it. And the Hindu Undivided Family, which I was taking up in the beginning itself. Now it is developed because of the benefits, tax benefit that it's getting as a HUF. Now I've come across a few matters, few cases where they even do business under HUF. Whether HUF is a legal entity? No, it's not a legal entity. In fact, if you see the history of the HUF comes from the Hindu law. Okay, it travels from Hindu law, and that too for property division and to deal with the property. The whole concept has been introduced well before, even before independence, I can say. Okay, this concept has got evolved. Okay, where co-partner and many concept is there to make sure that the property is devolving upon and it is coming into the bag of HUF. But now, when days are passing, our entrepreneurs have started using HUF also to do business. But again, the same demerits what I told for proprietorship firm and partnership firm, the same demerits the HUF has also got. In fact, more than that it has got, because at least the sole proprietorship, at least to some extent, if you see with a rough estimate, it contributes our GDP about nearly to 40 to 50% also, we can say. Means the business that is generated out of the total business of our country. So that level proprietorship was contributing a lot, though now after Companies Act and after LLP Act, it has drastically come down. But the days were there where it was contributing more. Actually speaking, more than an organized format, the unorganized format was contributing more. Same way, there was a litigation, there was issues, problem more was there in an unorganized organization compared to organized organization. Means organized entity compared to unorganized. That's why now many of the entrepreneurs I know who I come across, they understood the difference. In fact, many nowadays started preferring the legal entity, means the organized entity, because they know that they are protected. They are protected with the shield of limited liability, and also they have a legal recognition, and they exist by statutory recognition called certificate of incorporation, which is not there for other three formats which I said, sole proprietorship and partnership and HUF. But whereas in case of limited liability partnership and company, of course, it has got a legal recognition, it is regulated, it's governed by statute, and it is regulated by regulatory authority, and it is really a blessing to the entrepreneur, so that with the limited risk, the entrepreneur can do business and cherish and take the profit and share it as per the law provides. So this is how the whole provisions today, how it exists in our country. So accordingly, I think it's all about the convenience, but more than a convenience, please make sure we are not completely exposing to risk without protection. It's like how we are wearing a helmet while driving. That's what they made it a law in Tamil Nadu, that you have to wear a helmet. It's nothing but a protection. So like that, when doing a business, it is all the more very important to the entrepreneur to have a protection, so that it will not end. The life will not end. No, same way the business will not end. So with that, I thought I provided some inputs to you. So all the best to you all. See you again. Bye.